about the MLK assassination, we never knew because we have quite the historian here, Dory Wiley, who y'all saw then and who did an amazing, our most viewed podcast so far was on the JFK assassination. And Dory and I started talking off camera, and we were talking about movies we need to see or have seen. And I have a group of friends that have seen The Great Awakening. And Dory has seen it and loves it so much, you've written an article about it. So, Dory, tell me about the movie I have to go see.
You have to go see it. I think every American ought to go see it. It's really interesting. Now, I have a slight biased opinion. My favorite subject is our American history, our revolutionary time period. I had started as a kid as a fan of the Civil War. My dad took me to my first battlefield when I was 5 at Vicksburg, and I remember everything about it.
Yes.
It's a wonderful place.
Yeah.
But it's not quite as uplifting
That's
about
true.
what the Civil War was about
Yeah.
versus the Revolution.
Mm.
Do you know what? There are a couple of mottos of the American Revolution. One was, no king but King Jesus.
Really?
Kind of like remember the Alamo.
Yes.
Or remember Pearl Harbor,
Right.
remember the Maine.
Yes.
Another one was, that was even more well-known and even put on a flag, and Thomas Jefferson tried to use as a motto for official seal, was rebellion to tyrants is obedience to God.
Wow.
And that's why the Great Awakening was so important.
Yeah.
It was years before the Revolution, but it wasn't just a spiritual awakening. It was a political awakening. It was an understanding that they didn't have to suffer under tyrants. And this story, I knew where they were going right off the bat. It opens with a scene of the Constitutional Convention, and everyone's fighting, and Franklin's sitting there, dejected, and because it's about to break up. And I thought, I know what this is. Franklin's going to save the day with his spiritual call to prayer and save the Constitutional Convention and save America. It's one of the most important speeches in American history. Very few people know it. And it's a very religious speech. And it's about divine intervention, which is pretty good considering a lot of historians like to say Franklin was not a believer, and he questioned the divinity of Christ, but he was definitely a believer in an active God.
Yes.
In fact, in the speech, he actually says, I've lived a long time, and the longer I live, the more certain I am of this fact that God governs in the affairs of men. And if a sparrow cannot fall to the ground without his aid, how is it that if a tower, he's talking about something falls to the ground.
Well,
if a sparrow,
he knows if even a sparrow
falls. A sparrow can't fall to the ground without his aid.
Yeah.
How is it that an empire can't rise with it?
Ooh.
Okay. And he goes to this whole litany of discussions about the miracles of the Revolution. Well, this movie stops before that speech, and then there's a break in the convention, and Franklin's remembering his relationship with Whitfield. Now, there are a lot of great pastors in the Great Awakening, but Whitfield was the rock star.
Yeah.
And he was like bigger than Elvis, 100 times bigger than Billy Graham.
Wow.
And 1 out of every 2 Americans saw him.
That's amazing.
18,000 sermons. He was incredible, speaking all the time. He could speak to 30,000 people without a microphone. And in Boston, 30,000 people as a town was about 18,000 at the time.
Yes.
Think about
amazing
what a big star he was. But it wasn't just about spiritual revival. It was about political thought and reasoning. It was incredible. There's not one thought that was penned in the Declaration of Independence that hadn't been expressed in the pulpit before 1963. And that's what's so fascinating about this movie. I leaned over to my wife when Whitfield was about to do his very first sermon, and I said, they won't capture it. There's no way. This guy was super massively powerful. Well, the movies are pretty good because when he gets up and he projects out of that pulpit for the first time, it's like God coming out of the clouds and speaking to. It's tears came down my face. Now,
Amazing.
granted, this is a subject I've studied for the last 40 years, so it
Yes.
really moved me, but it was incredible. And the reason why is this is about who we are as Americans.
Mhm.
And we've
It's our
forgotten who
heritage.
we are
Mhm.
because who we are is who we were.
That's powerful. That's powerful. And the Great Awakening must be going over who we're going to be again. I love it.
Absolutely.
I love it. Okay. Any more you want to share? Is that it?
Is that
That's
enough?
our teaser.
We'll save it for a podcast on
Yeah.
Great Awakening.
I
How's
think
that?
we need to hurry up and film one and get it out to you guys. So we're glad we gave you a teaser. All I know is every single one of my friends that has seen it has gone on. And if Dory
They all
Wiley,
liked it?
they loved it.
Great.
They loved it. So it's going to be on my calendar. All right. It was so good to spend some time with y'all, and we'll see you next time.